Want to take a guess what happens when a college athlete breaks every record in the book and still has haters foaming at the mouth? Step right up to the runaway emergence of Caitlin Clark, the basketball phenom whose limitless range and iconic number 22 jersey have not only shattered records, but sparked an endless debate on race and sportsmanship. Ready to uncover why everyone's talking about her? First off, let's just admit that there are a lot of variables that went into Caitlin making women's basketball mainstream. Any attempt to try to find a single cause is foolish. And yes, obviously, she's not the only woman who drove this movement. That said, she is its biggest force by far. Let's just get this out of the way. Is the influx of new WNBA fans a good thing? Or is it at least partly driven by the fact that she's white? Yes, it's not knocking her to acknowledge this. And neither is it a product of some grassroots or media campaign to rubbish black stars by comparison. Many children and adults feel vindicated when someone of their ilk reaches the pinnacle in a sport to which they're not normally attached as the face. It's such a humanly emotional reaction, and I don't think it's malicious. But sometimes it attracts some real assholes who see it as an opportunity to spew racist crap. You can see it in how, all of a sudden, kids and adults now who never cared about basketball are all over Caitlin's merch, coming to her games, asking for autographs, and buying WNBA league passes just so they could watch her. In terms of popularity, Caitlin catapulted to one of the top-ranked players in the country. The sudden fame has understandably annoyed some black fans who have seen legends like Cooper, Swoops, Moore, and Parker get less attention despite the domination. What is more, Caitlin's rise has been even more frustrating for some in the wake of increased attention toward racial injustice over the past few years. But if her race were the only, or the biggest, reason for her evisceration, this popularity explosion would have happened years ago. The sellouts and viewership would have accompanied Taurasi, Ionescu, or Plum. Clark is so popular because of her style of play, with an unlimited shooting range. It's new, and it's impossible for anyone, much less condescending dudes, to hand-wave it off as a function of her competition just being smaller or weaker. Not that this was fair to women before, but her style of play is built to drive home how ridiculous that condescension is. Perhaps most iconic, though, is her number 22 jersey, representing her skill, determination, and passion for the game. She changed the entire flow and aesthetic of the game. Your offensive game plans now feature this unprecedented arsenal both as a scorer and a distributor. Defenses must change their entire strategy when she steps onto the court. They played box and won the entire season last year. Changing the paradigm is what Michael Jordan did. It's what Steph Curry was. It just looks like magic. It turns heads, and it keeps their attention. Not that it's terribly complicated, but she shoots deep threes under the position of a guard in the threes era of basketball. She entered the NCAA when they started letting players get huge money in media deals. She has the ball in her hand on about 80% of plays her team runs because she's the starting PG, and she shoots the kinds of shots that are most flashy to today's fans, and was the target of huge sums of money. Odds are that this kind of thing will be more normal, with a new household name NCAA player coming into the league every few years who was the best throughout their college career and has a huge media following when they do. Realistically, players like Sab and Plum would have entered the league with much more juice behind them if today's NIL deals were around when they were in college. Stewie and Wilson too, but there is something about post players that never gets the same level of hype these days. Her story helped too. NIL and the transfer portal have dramatically altered the entire sports landscape over the last 5 years. At times for worse, other times better. But this lesson in staying home, playing for non-traditional powers, fitting into a team without a slew of top 100 players, resonated with people who had felt jaded about college sports. Taking a team like that to the national championship 2 years in a row, sitting next to 5-star rosters, made the decision rare. It makes for great sports writing, and people crave narratives to help them make sense of the world and embrace new experiences. In her story, she's the loyal small-town hero who rejected the easier path to stardom. Moreover, Caitlin's academic excellence only adds another shade to her popularity. And yes, the prominence of Caitlin's rivalry with Angel Reese gave both profiles a stratospheric boost. There you go, yet another tale to consume and obsess over. The fact that Caitlin can sink three-pointers from almost any position on the court further cements her status as a standout player. which speaks to her hard work and natural talent. She has hit over 500 three-pointers in college and scored more than part of the NCAA single-season record with 156 three-pointers. You can be a gigantic Caitlin Clark fanboy, such as I am, and still realize that her stardom is more than just the product of her ravenous competitive drive, tireless work ethic, and otherworldly talent. Knowing certain social conditions and events beyond her control has helped her out over the years and in no way diminishes her greatness. Such things are always involved in creating greatness. You can also be a Caitlin Clark hater while acknowledging her transformational talent and impact on the game. Feel empowered to hate her in the way so many hated Jordan at his peak, as so many hate LeBron even today because she's not on your team. Hate her when she embellishes contact and begs for a call. Hates her when she hits a dagger to crush your team's spirit and celebrate when she fails. That's healthy fandom. The problem is that Caitlin Clark shouldn't be made into an avatar for changes in social injustices that stretch beyond women's basketball and are totally outside of her control. Indeed, she has done everything that any reasonable person would do to spotlight stars who paved the way and give kudos to former greatness. She has defended both teammates and rivals when they have been targeted by some horrid comments from what must be an endless source of sadists, sexists, and racists that seem to dwell in the fringes of society. All the while, she has been facing the same terrible, at times even criminal treatment on social media and elsewhere, all of which grows right along with her profile. She deserves some of the same forbearance she gives to others. Caitlin is bringing all of this heady mix of Iowa fans, inspired newbies, overly polite Midwesterners, educated basketball purists, and even some rival fans who plain loathe her. Yes, some scumbag racists who seem to like to capitalize on her status even though I'm sure she desperately wishes otherwise. Interestingly, Caitlin has similarly secured many value endorsements, making her one of the most marketable players in women's basketball. For example, her Nike deal is part of her bundled NIL worth about $3.1 million. In addition to those, she has cut deals for Gatorade, State Farm, Buick, and Bose, which really improved her financial success. Caitlin Clark broke a great number of records in her career achievements. She scored the most points, 3,667, in NCAA all-time scoring history over Pete Maravich's record. Moreover, Clark has some other Big Ten Conference records for the most assists and became the first Division I player to notch more than 3,000 points, 900 assists, and 800 rebounds in her career. She has recorded 17 career triple-doubles, the second most in NCAA women's basketball history behind only Sabrina Ionescu. These new followers number in the millions, and they're here, intentionally or not, to elevate the profile of a sport to a level that its longtime fans have always insisted it deserves. I think the good fans vastly outnumber the bad ones and usually stand against them. Thank you for watching. What do you think about Caitlin Clark and her rise to fame? Do you agree or disagree with why she is so popular? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. See you in the next one.